Coming up on this episode of the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up, the Archer hits the target once again. It's Reading revisited as the Royals return. And it's Viva Brazil! Gary Brazil takes us back to the 80s. All that and so much more on the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up.
Yeah, absolutely loads to get in this week's episode. We've got a cracker for you, but let's rewind to start off. Let's go back to Peterborough. He's done it again.
Earl, North End flowing down the left as Hughes now gets onto it. Dangerous cross and it bounces off the crossbar and away for a throw-in as Andrew Hughes there on his return to Peterborough very nearly put North End ahead. And now North End play out. Whiteman releases the runner, Potts down the right wing. Reece Brown comes across to try and deal with him. Potts just continues to charge down the flank, sends a low cross in. Archer back to goal, rolls it off for Brown. Brown tees it off for Johnson, shot blocked. Reece keeps it alive. It rolls across the 6-yard line. Cross again sent in, flicked on at the near post, and there was Clark Harris at the back. Tried to stab it past Everson. Earl and Thompson tangle off the ball here as North End tried to play out. It finds Reece Brown. Brown shoots and drags it wide off the upright. That a huge let-off for Preston North End. Ward, who looks to play a 1-2, gets in behind Hughes. Ward shoots, and that is yet another to add to the catalogue of brilliant Daniel Everson saves. This time, he didn't even need his hands. A right boot sees it away. It's a corner to Peterborough United. Ward, with plenty of confidence, now sends in a cross. Ward steps up, curls it goalwards, and it hits the crossbar. It will go behind. Johnson able to extend his leg and get it into Alan Brown. Brown to Archer!
Yes!
Oh! Pick that out! Archer arrows it into the back of the net. A left-footed curler. The left bender with no chance. And Preston North End take the lead at the Western Home Stadium. It falls for Reece Brown. Reece Brown out to the right-hand side. Ward first time crosses. Clark Harris trying to get his body across both Bauer and Vandenberg. Potts clears and the full-time whistle sounds. It's 3 points for Preston North End, courtesy of a gutsy, feisty showing on the road. North End win. It's finished. Peterborough United 0, Preston North End 1.
Right, let's crack on, and our interview of the week this week is with one of my heroes, Gary Brazil. Now, if you are maybe too young to know who Gary Brazil is, shame on you, you're about to learn. What a goal scorer he was, 86, 87, took away the goal scoring charts himself, and John Thomas ripping it up, the Phoenix from the Flame. So we'll talk about that season, we'll talk about why he came to Preston North End and why he stayed when we plummeted down to 91st and re-election, all that and so much more. That's a good little catchphrase, isn't it? But we start with how we usually start with our former players, and you should know by now. Do you remember? How are you? Where are you? And what are you doing?
I've been now at Nottingham Forest for nearly 10 years, 10 years in May. Initially came in as an under-18 coach and then very very quickly took over the academy from Nick Marshall, who's now at Liverpool, at the beginning of 2013, and been working within the academy here ever since. So enjoying the role. It's very time consuming. It takes up a lot of your time, but we've had some real success here over the period of time, and we've brought through some really nice young players, and helped the club out in terms of being able to provide first team players for the first team, but also being able to provide a significant income stream for the club when either a player's wanted to move on, or we've needed to move a player on for financial gain.
Am I right in thinking that the man who took you to the city of Nottingham originally was Big Sam? Is that would that be through a Preston connection as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to know Sam as a teammate at Deepdale, and we got on well. I mean, and we sort of kept in touch, if you like. And once he went to Notts County and he started managing at Notts County, an opportunity came up to take their under-18s, and we just had a conversation about possibly coming and doing it. And I just stopped playing by then. I was just playing part-time, but just enjoying football because you love playing football. And it was the moment that pushed you into, I'd always wanted to stay in the game, but also I really, really wanted to be a coach. And the opportunity to start my coaching journey on a full-time basis, because what I was doing, Simon, was still playing for Fulham, but I was taking their under-16s, etc., but really getting my teeth into the enjoyment of building relationships and building a group of players and trying to help individuals. So that opportunity to come in and work with a group of players at under 18 and to cut my teeth. And also Sam had my back, and it was a really good experience for me to come in as under 18 coach. But very soon, sort of within a year, 18 months, I was actually his assistant with the first team. And we got on well, not exactly the same animals, but it worked well between us. And Sam was successful at Notts County, and then obviously he moved on to Bolton, and he's gone on to get a fantastic career going forward, and has done brilliant for himself, Sam.
It's funny when I look back at the era when you played at Preston North End, the amount of either current players or those that were coaches that have either gone on or have been at quite high levels. So I include Sam in that. Brian Kidd was obviously, I think Brian brought you into the football club, didn't he? Bobby Saxton, John McGrath, Chappie, Les Chapman, they've all gone thereabouts. Do you pick bits and pieces from all of them? Were they inspirations for you, maybe, to want to be coach?
With Tommy and Brian initially brought us over to Deepdale from Sheffield United when we were playing. And they were sort of cutting their teeth in management, and Brian's gone on to get a fantastic career in the game. But if you go on to John's era, I mean, you pick up while you're playing, you pick up loads from different people. I'd already been around people like Harry Haslam and Ian Porterfield, Danny Bagara at Sheffield United, that leave a real mark on you and the things that they do. But the experience with John was a magnificent one, because not only did you learn how to try and manage people, which John was an expert on, but you learned a hell of a lot about the character of people, because my goodness, the lovely thing about John was that he actually employed some really strong characters, and the changing room changed really quickly, Simon, in a short space of time, where all of a sudden you've got some really strong-willed people, some older pros that have not been there, seen it, done it, but were very strong-willed in the changing room. And that changing room became a changing room for men very, very quickly, but also was a real fun changing room. And you mentioned Chappie, Les is about as funny a person I've ever met in football. Usher Williams, Sam, Steve Taylor, John Thomas. There was boys that were sort of already in there a little bit. Big Bob Atkins, that came across to Preston from Sheffield United, Mickey Bennett. I could go on, Mickey Rathbone. You go on. I'm going to miss people out. They're going to get annoyed with me. But, Ronnie Hildersley. It was just one of the, there are times in your working life where you just cannot wait to get into work. And that changing room just got you into work really quickly. And it was no surprise that we were quite successful, Simon, because we actually genuinely liked each other and we could push each other to get more out of each other. But John was a very, very bright man in bringing that group of people together. And once he'd worked out how to get the best out of us, and also he let adults be adults on the football pitch and lead on the football pitch, it was the momentum that was gained, and once you've got that momentum, it's really hard to stop.
I'm really interested to know why you chose Preston North End in the first place. When you left Sheffield United, I know you'd been out on loan to, was it Reading? Did you go out on loan to, or Port Vale you went out on loan to, didn't you?
Correct, yeah.
Then you came to North End, and then after the first season, we got relegated. The second season, when you and JT were still scoring goals galore, we had to apply for re-election, and yet you still stayed. So what brought you here in the first place? And then what kept you there when it seemed like, well, it was our lowest point in the club's history? Why did you keep the faith?
So here's learning for me as an individual as you get older, because we're always trying to encourage really good young players to sign for us at Forest. I really initially, I could say it was Tommy Booth, I could say it was Brian Kidd, I could say a number of things on the football side. It's actually Barney Campbell that had the biggest influence on me initially. I met Barney at the Tickle Trout, and had a conversation with him with regard to actually signing, because initially we came over on loan, and then got to the point where we were going to sign. But it was made to feel welcome. It was made to feel as though they really wanted you. And I think when you get to a point where you've got to move on from a club, you're actually looking for a place where you feel that you're going to be wanted. And it was that. And I remember Barney really, really well. He was a really clever guy and a lovely bloke. And I think his boy he played for us. I think Glenn was playing with us in the team at the point. But he just met me, and also one of the games when I come on loan, my mum and dad came up, and he made such a fuss of them. I mean, it wasn't my mum and dad decided what I was going to do with my football career, but I just thought, you're a really clever guy, and he did make people feel really, really welcome. I got a feel for the place, and although I knew it wasn't performing on all of its cylinders, it got so much tradition, it got so much history. You could almost feel that it had the potential to take off. But the other side, let's be right, as I was a very young lad at that point, I wanted to play football, Simon, and I wanted to be in a team, and I wanted at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, I wanted to be on a football pitch, and I'd lost the ability to do that at Sheffield United, and I wanted to play, and I wanted to be able to develop and, and show what I was capable of doing.
And you and JT seemed to hit it off relatively early. I don't know whether a partnership was that. Were you pushing each other? Did you link up well? Was it a combination of the both?
I think we linked up well. I think John was a very, very good striker and a much better scorer of goals than I was. I think the way it worked was that we worked off each other very well. I was a slightly different footballer to John. John was very direct, and he was a real handful for defenders because he had quite a strength to him. I was a bit more cheeky. I had a bit more, if you want for a better term, and John will kill me for this, I had a bit more guile, and I was probably just a little bit more creative. And the yin and the yang worked really, really nicely. And as you rightly say, even when things weren't going so well overall for the team, both of us were able to create and score quite a lot of goals. And you could see that there was a potential in the pair of us being able to help the club out going forward. But it was tough. I mean, we were ever so good at letting goals in at that point, and it became, you could come along and watch Preston play, and you could be guaranteed goals. And it was, strikers would be lying if they said you can lose 4-3, but if you get a hat trick and have the ball under your arm out when you come off, that you're not happy with yourself, because we're selfish little devils. So there was a lot of scoring goals, but you weren't getting the points and weren't in the position in the league you wanted to be. And there were some tough times at that point. I remember playing on a Tuesday afternoon against Scunthorpe, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because the floodlights didn't work. And honestly, if we had 2,000 in there, I'd be surprised. And there is a point where you go, wow, this place is really struggling right now. And you have to give John amazing credit for this. How the hell he turned that club around so quickly. It's still a point that, that season was my most enjoyable season as a player in football. And I've got some fantastic memories, as a lot of us have, that were in that team. And if we do ever see each other, it would be lovely to get that group together at some point, because there was a real camaraderie and we had some really good times together. But it was just something that once it took off, it was really hard to slow down. But a fantastic year for us both on and off the pitch.
Oh yes, of course. Gary Brazil, memories. No, I'm not even going to go there. But part 2 with Gary Brazil coming up, and it gets even better. He turns it up to 11. Yes, I do love Gary Brazil. He was one of my favourites, and I think still is. Right, sorry, just in a moment there, myself there. Right, Reading is next up at Deepdale. We are going to hear from Tom Barkhuizen shortly, because he had a pretty decent game, you remember, not that long ago, although it is in retrospect 5 years ago. Gary Brazil was 35 years ago, so 5 years ago to some man not similar. Shut up, Simon. Let's hear now from Pat Bauer and, first of all, the manager, Ryan Lowe.
I think, we've had, games where we've played Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and it does catch up with you, and you've got to rotate the squad a little bit. We've got a bit of freshness back into the lads now. They've certainly looked fresher today. We'll continue, obviously, the game plan tomorrow. It's always nice when you've got a free week, because you can get some coaching as well. Tuesday was a coaching day, Thursday's another coaching day, and, with large parts built on for the Reading game, and then tomorrow we'll finish it off. So it's been important. We got a little bit of downtime as well, and obviously to put the game plan together for Reading.
Yeah, for a long time we had midweek games, so it was the first week we could train every day. It was good. We got a day off on Monday as well, so I had a little rest, so it was good, and looking forward to Saturday now.
Observed, we've seen, but we ain't taking Reading lightly. They've got some good players. Are they in a false position? Probably yet. They've had a few injuries, and minus 6 points I think it was, so they wouldn't be down there if they had that. Well, they'd still be around, but they wouldn't. The less points, they'd have more points, and then obviously, they've had some injuries, and I think, Reading's a fantastic football club, well supported, and they've got some fantastic players, so we can't literally take them lightly. I watched the game last night; could have went either way for both teams, but what we've got to do is make sure that we put our game plan together and make sure we're right on it. Otherwise, what can happen in the Championship.
Yeah, the boys are confident. We had really good results recently. We want to win our game at home in front of our supporters, but I guess Reading, they want to get also 3 points towards safety. They haven't picked up really good results recently, so they are trying to win the game as well.
We've been going well at home, haven't we? We just obviously the different type of games aren't they? Especially the Bristol City one where we come back, and the Sheffield United one. Want them games, them goals that you're scoring late on to be winning goals, not drawing goals, and to get a point we want 3 points. But again, look, the games are coming thick and fast, aren't they? We've got plenty of home games left. We want to make sure that we start winning games at home, certainly, but winning games away from home, and that's the plan. But ultimately, you can't dictate that, can you? Obviously, there's going to be teams coming here with game plans to stop us doing that. All we've got to do is if we make sure we're on it on the day and we fulfil the game plan, then as seen, we can beat any team in the league.
Okay, let's take you back to 2017. Reading, the visitors to Preston North End. Tom Barkhuizen, the new kid on the block. This was his, well, let's stop talking, Simon. Let the man himself, Tom Barkhuizen, came to visit us in the weekend warm-up studio to talk all about the game. Right, let's take you back to 2017. This was your home debut in a Preston North End shirt. Your 8th overall at North End. Can you remember going into that game, how you're feeling about that Deepdale debut?
Pretty confident. I think I'd scored in the last 2. I know they were both away games, but I'd played a couple of sub-appearances at Deepdale and kind of got used to my surroundings. So, I think naturally when you're coming off the back of a couple of goals, I think the one on the Tuesday as well was like a 94th minute equaliser. So, I was feeling pretty good and ready to go again.
So your full Deepdale debut in a Preston North End shirt. Let's have a look how it went. So Reading were 11 points ahead of us at the time going into this one. North End chasing the playoffs. How were you feeling?
To be honest, I probably wasn't really thinking much about the playoffs at this point. I think probably selfishly it was about establishing myself in the team, and obviously coming from League Two to the Championship, you're trying to, show people that you can step up, and yeah, to be honest, at that moment it was more about myself, and yeah, I'd scored a couple of goals and trying to do that again, because naturally if you're scoring as a forward, it helps the team. So yeah, the playoffs weren't really part of my thought process, to be honest.
So this is the first one. No, it's not.
But as you can tell, I'm shooting from anywhere, so I've obviously...
That haircut, I think we need to have a word about, don't we?
I mean, it was, 5 years ago, so...
Was it in fashion at any time?
No, definitely not. I was just young and naive.
Here we go, right.
No, this isn't it either, is it? No, this is when Geese just decided to take the whole team on, I think. Again.
He had that in his locker, though. I mean, that touch is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he should be shooting from there, though.
Should he have found the guy with the bad haircut in the middle of the box?
No, I think... Yeah.
Right, here we go then. So Maxi, off we go. Tommy Clark, QU.
Yeah, hopeful ball from Pirro, not one of his better balls really. I think the defender usually would just cut that out.
Hogs to you and then swept it in.
Yeah, I enjoy that one. I think it's...
How big was the confidence then for you? I mean, you said, it was, in the end, it was 5-4 around that time, 6-6 for you. Confidence-wise, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think I've kind of shown that over my time here, that once I do get a goal, I tend to go on, little sprees of scoring back to back to back, and I think I've probably done it 4 or 5 times since I've been here, so I think it probably shows that, yeah, especially when I was younger, confidence was a massive part of my game, and like, you just shoot from anywhere and they happen to go in, whereas, if you haven't scored in the game before, that probably flies into Rosettes, which I've done plenty of times at this stadium. So yeah, just yeah, I think when you're confident and you're not really thinking about anything, things just flow naturally. And I think I actually said it after this game that, you kind of got to make the most of it.
Well, if you are feeling confident, I suppose it means you can do runs
and then you do
like
stuff like
this.
this. Yeah.
So come on, talk us through this, Pele.
Well, again, I think just get it and run, and then have Daryl steal it off you when you're just about to shoot and nearly miss. But yeah, I think, like you said, at that point, I've obviously scored again. I'm on 3-3. I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world. I'm absolutely flying. My haircut's still horrendous.
If Daryl doesn't put that in, are you going to slap him around the face with a wet fish? Because it's a heck of it's a goal of the season if you put it in.
Yeah, I think the fact that he scores from it probably is good for me either way, because then people see it back. I think if he doesn't score, no one ever watches that again. And I think when you get the ball in the edge of your own box and leave two people fouling each other, it's quite funny looking back, and yeah, just run and don't think about anything else. Which at that point in my career, that's all I wanted to do, just focus on myself really, and establish myself, in games like this definitely help.
But that's a great touch there, isn't it? And then you're thinking, should I? What?
Yeah. I think at that point you probably think I should just shoot, and I think that's what Geets was saying after, like, just shoot. But again, I probably showed that side of my game where I'm not. Although I was thinking more about me there, I'm still subconsciously thinking about, Daryl's a new player, he wants a goal as well.
You look like you pooped there.
Yeah, I probably needed an inhaler there.
And here you go. Nice little flick. And if
I'm
confidence
not in the
going
box on
for
set
you,
pieces anymore. I'm back on the halfway line, so no wonder my goals have dried up.
But that is very much a Mr. T haircut. And we're watching this, of course, because it's Reading this weekend as well.
Yeah.
And how's the confidence going into this one?
Yeah, I think the boys are pretty good. I think we've lost, 1 in 9, 1 in 10. Naturally, I think we're gaining on the playoffs. You can feel momentum's kind of going our way. And I think at the moment, it's just about putting your foot down and really ramming it home. Yeah, I think we kind of probably got closer quicker than we initially thought we might. I think there's still 15 games left. I think maybe if we'd got to 10 games left and you're 4 points off, you'd be saying we've done well here. We've managed to catch up pretty quick. So yeah, try and hammer it home. They obviously played Wednesday, so they're going to be a little bit more fatigued than we are, and yeah, good opportunity for us to try and get even closer.
I know, just finally, that you're all staying you're like little Fonzarellis around here. You're all staying quite cool and everything. Me, on the other hand, I'm Ralph Malph. I'm getting giddy. I'm thinking, playoffs? No.
I think it's all well and good doing that, but there's probably 8 other teams. This is probably the closest it's been. I know we talk about that year, and there was a lot of teams going for then. But this year, it's just mad. And I know teams have got games in hand and blah, 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 but you've got to win your games in hand. So this is, I think it probably helps that we've been there and not made it before. Because I know that in the year after that one, we had a good run and we got so close and then didn't get it. So we've still got a few older heads who remember that. So it's just about keeping your feet on the ground. And yeah, obviously it does get exciting. You know, the more you win and teams drop points around us, you know, you do start looking at that 6th place, and to be fair, even 5th and 4th are creeping up as well. But again, there's so many other teams that are thinking the same thing, that you kind of got to stay, well, not kind of, you've got to stay focused, and you've got to still do the right things on the day. And yeah, hopefully we can keep doing that, because the boys have been, you know, fantastic. I think you look at maybe not so performances in a couple of games, but I think when you play Saturday, Tuesday for 6 weeks, naturally performance levels are going to fluctuate a little bit. But grinding out results, it's been brilliant. The amount of late goals we scored and things like that. And I think it's a real testament to the lads who've been playing, because it's not easy.
Right, if you've not got your ticket yet for the Reading game, there's still time. You can go online, mypne.com, or just turn up in person to the ticket office, which you know where it is by now, right in front of the Sir Tom Finney stand. Club shops next door, pop in. The Garden Gnomes are back, I think. The last time I went in, I saw them. Anyway, let's move on, because Gary Brazil, I'm not allowed to sing the song anymore, but what I am allowed to say to you is that we're looking back, you know why, I'm looking back, 86, 87, what a season it was. We lost 8 times in the league that season. However, 6 of them, the first 6, came before the end of November. So what a run-in. So that's where we restart the interview with a jog back in time to 86, 87, which in my mind was the greatest season in footballing history.
Oh, there's loads, Simon. There are loads of moments that I could pinpoint back. The way the camaraderie started to be created right at the very good beginning of the season, because it had been really, really tough. I'd actually gone in pre-season to Mansfield with Ian Greaves, and John had spoke to me and said, "Look, you know," I said, "You know, I don't know if this is the right place for me now. I don't know going forward whether it's right for me." And Mansfield came in and they agreed to take me on loan. And John said to me, "Look, if you want to go and see what it's like, go and see what it's like." And I did all right over there in pre-season. I remember it. But Ian Greaves come back at me and he just sort of said, "We can't take you, son. I just haven't got the money, and I need to get this player in. I need to get that player in." A little bit like John Rudge did to me when I was at Port Vale on loan. And I went, "Oh, all right." And I went back into Preston, and John had already got his feet under the table a bit and was about five weeks in. And I went back and I said, "Look, they're not going to take me." And he went, "Well, okay, you're part of the squad. Come back in." And I come back in, and I think within probably 2 days, I thought, wow, this is different. I remember getting called out in a team meeting by him, and he really made an example of it. I thought, wow, this is a different environment entirely. And I really thrived off it. I was desperate for a well done off him, and it probably took me nearly 4 months to get one off him. But he just taught me how to play for the team properly, and be invested as part of the team. And it was really tough at times, Simon, because I don't think he really fancied me early doors at all. And I really had to fight hard and roll my sleeves up to get into that team. And I know he brought Steve Taylor in to team up with John. And I was slowly getting my nose pushed out. Steve was unlucky, broke his arm, and that gave me a little in again. And I was in. But there were the moments in games where Southend away, we went down to Southend at one point and won 2-1. I remember well. There's the game at Deepdale on a Friday night against Northampton, which was sort of getting to the point on the icing on the cake. But there was points before that. A horrible evening over at Rochdale, and I mean the weather. And I can remember now scoring the first goal from a really acute angle. But the support to go to Rochdale in the league we were in, and the as I said, I use the term, the momentum we had about we were getting results. We could play football. If it needed to be muck and bullets, it was muck and bullets. We had we had the right game plan for every different type of game. And those last 2 or 3 months were comfortably the most fun months I ever had as a footballer in the season. It was just fantastic. And Chappie scoring at Brisbane Road to get us up. Wow. I missed a really good chance just before that to put us in the lead. And I've ever since claimed that I knew Chappie would score, so I missed on purpose. But it was so fitting that Chappie scored the goal that got us a promotion on that day at Brisbane Road.
He was at North End a couple of weeks ago with Mickey Bennett, and it was great to see them both. And they still speak fondly about it. So obviously, Les went on to become coach, manager, all sorts of stuff that Chappie did as well. So glad that you still remember it fondly. When you left, obviously I think you had another season, and then Newcastle United came in for you, who were playing at a higher level than we were. And I think Ian Bogey came the other way as well. Was that a difficult decision for you, or did it make sense in terms of you stepping up your career?
It's really hard to turn a football club like Newcastle United down and not take it. You'd be deemed to be lacking in ambition. It wasn't an easy thing to do because I really love the club, and I still do. It was one of those moves where you never ever really got a chance to say a thank you or acknowledge the support that you got, and you did get a load of support. The fans were fantastic and are fantastic at Preston, but it was one of those things where I think John was really interested in being Ian Bogey in as well. Bogues was a really good footballer, and it almost felt as though it wasn't me really pushing for a move. I wasn't in that position. I wasn't going in with transfer requests and demanding to leave. I wasn't there. We were doing well. We were pushing towards the top of Division 1, and then Newcastle came at me. It was a Premier League club, or whatever it was then, a Division 1 club, as they used to call it in those days. And it was an opportunity you had to grab. Fantastic club, massive football club, and it was a lovely experience playing there. But it was really hard to break away. I was coming back to watch games. I was watching the boys in the playoffs because I think they got to the playoffs at the end of that year. And you were still around it, and you wanted. And there was a little bit of you that went, "Oh, I wish I was still in this situation and being able to help, trying to help this group of lads to get into the next league." So it was sort of bittersweet. Lovely to get an opportunity to go and play for a Premier League club, and that happened because of Preston North End. But also a little bit of I left some really good friends behind. I left a manager that I completely and utterly admired and respected, and John did so much for me. But in everything in life, you move on and you have to go on to the next thing. And Newcastle was the next thing for me. But my time at Preston was something that I love to reflect back on. I've still got my goals of the season tape for that promotion year, and I'll be lying if every now and again I don't put it on.
Did you not lose some goals, were you telling me?
Yeah, but that's when your children are growing up and you collect stuff and you have stuff, and then you sort of try and say to the kids, they start sort of getting to an age where they get an idea of a little bit of what you might have done, and you would at those points put a video cassette in and you go, "Look, kids, this is when I was," and it goes on. Also, you just get to a point and then it all goes fuzzy and Pokemon comes on and you're thinking, little devils have actually just taped over it. So, but that's life, that's evolution. So, I still got the memories, and I still am able to speak to people that are connected with the club. And I'd be lying if I don't look out for the results, And I know Ryan. We put a lad on loan to Plymouth last season, and I'm Ryan Lowe. I know how committed and how the way he wants to play football, and I know how much of a winner he is. So I think it's a really good appointment by Preston.
Two, just finally, just quickly, because I know you're very busy. Thanks a million for sparing us the time for this. I've really enjoyed it. One of them is we found the season video. Ben's got a copy of it, so we're going to try that away to get that to you. We were brilliant for far too long the other day. And secondly, talking of your children who recorded Pokemon over your goals there, they're doing quite well themselves in a football world, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, it's a funny one. When you work in football, and this is it now, since 16, I've been very, very lucky to be in football. But when you work at a level, it does take your time. And Sam said to me, Big Sam said to me when I first started working with him, I started getting the job, and then started to work with him at first. He went, "You're not seeing your kids grow up, you know." And I sort of grinned at him a little bit, but I soon found out I know exactly what he meant. But the lovely thing is they get drawn into your environment, because at times it's just impossible to go into their environment as much as you like to. So I've got two absolutely outstanding children. I've got a boy who's now actually 28. I don't know where the years have gone. He's working over at PSV in Eindhoven, and he works as a coach over there, and he's going to do incredibly well for himself as a coach. He's a very, very driven boy. And he's learning in a fantastic environment. He's worked in Vålerenga in Norway. He's coached over in the Cayman Islands, in Mongolia. He's really got off his backside and gone and done, and he's doing the hard yards. My little one, Ellie, is a bit of a sports person who is now playing in the WSL for Brighton, and she plays for England at the moment at under 23 level, and has played at all different levels. But it's fantastic, Simon, because I get to travel with Ellie. I've been to parts of the world when she's been playing in World Cups and European Championships with England, and rightly so, I'm proud of them. Els, I mean, both of them have got degrees, but if anybody had said to Ellie that she'd get a degree in business management and get a first in it 10 years ago, they'd just giggle, because they just took her for being a dumb blonde. But there's a lot more to my daughter as well that meets the eye. So they're doing fantastic. Elsie's 23 now. And they've both got great lives in front of them, and you hope that some of the things you have in your character and the mum has put them on a good path to go and get on with their lives, son.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Other than the colour of your hair, you look exactly the same as I remember from the mid-80s there. So fair play for that. And I know I've said this to you before as well, but whenever, I know you're busy with the academy and everything that you do in your life as well with the kids and your family, but you're always welcome back at Deep Down. We'd love to see you whenever you can get back.
I'll take you up on that.
Gary Brazil equals legend. That's all I've got to say about that. And that is all we've got time for in this show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe. I'm going to try and stop pointing, I think, because you know where it is by now, because you've done it. You've done it. You've done it. Right, the Cop is back open this weekend. So we will welcome for the first time, because we spotted you on Twitter, 8-year-old Amber. It's her first visit to Deepdale this weekend. And somebody then replied to that message to say that Ruben was being introduced to the Cop for the first time. He could be 47 in retrospect, but I don't think he is. So anyway, good luck to you two. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully we get a win. Don't forget the fan zone is open before the game, and special offers on after the game as well. And if you can't come and visit us at Deepdale this weekend, you can follow P&E on I Follow P&E. Yeah, you with me? Good. Like and subscribe, and we will see you again soon. Don't forget Nottingham Forest on Tuesday night as well. And in the meantime, join in with me. Come on, you can do it. What do we do? Come on, you wise.